Hi everyone, how are you? Jarrell here. Hope you're all doing well during this weird time in our world. I've just been working on Silver Falls Frontier Defenders. I guess I'll get you caught up on the latest developments at what's going on here uh, in front of my computer. So, Defenders was an idea that I had that I was intending to do about a year or two from now, after we get a few of our games out on consoles, and people get more familiar with the characters and the stories. Some story threads and lore are set up. Then I would introduce Frontier Defenders as a free game. That would give people something fun to do on their phones. Because of the weird state of the world right now, it's becoming very difficult. Not necessarily difficult, but offices are getting stuck doing work, or they're getting stuck and they're not able to do the work that they're able to do. And because right now we are a very low priority IP, because we're still new, brand new, and we don't have a huge amount of sales yet because we're new. We don't have high priority, which means that anything I submit's not going to get processed. So I don't exactly have any way to deal with that, unfortunately, other than fans letting Nintendo know that the fans do want Silver Falls games. Otherwise, nothing's going to get processed, and I can't publish anything. So because of that, I'll be working on this free mobile game. I absolutely hate pay-to-win models. It disgusts me. I believe that it's destroying our industry, and it's absolutely ruining an entire generation of gaming for not just gamers, but anyone in general, anyone who even casually wants to play games. Pay-to-win is ruining everything. It's BS, it sucks. So Frontier Defenders is just play it, enjoy it. There will be ads in the game so that I can bring some revenue into my office. Excuse me while I have some coffee. And so the basis of Frontier Defenders is you're recruiting different Silver Falls characters through different games in the series, which means some characters are going to be appearing in the series earlier than they're supposed to, which introduces a lot of extra work to me because I have to analyze all of my story threads, all of my character arcs, and I have to adjust everything that I've written. I'm going to have to adjust that so that Frontier Defenders doesn't spoil anything. This also means that I mostly have to try to cut story out of Frontier Defenders to avoid spoiling and ruining the character arcs that are supposed to be set up in the main titles. This is one game I would consider a spin-off. The other titles in Silver Falls I consider main titles, but this one is really very much a spin-off. It's still canon, but it's going to be light on story, and you're collecting characters, you're catching animals and training them as pets. When you go into battle, you have 4 characters and up to 2 pets. Every character has a different weapon type. You have to collect different equipment, different armor, and certain enemies will be weak to certain weapon types. Every character has a unique skill, so when their action timer comes up, you can either use your attack or your special skill. And then characters can also equip a skill pamphlet. And a skill pamphlet is like an instructional pamphlet. They hang on to it and they're able to perform a third action. So with your skill pamphlet equipped, every human character is able to perform up to 3 different actions. And what's interesting is each character has an attack range. That's sort of an area of effect for their normal attack. And then they have a unique area of effect for their skill, which means that, say I have an attack called First Aid, and my skill effect only hits directly in front of me. So when I use First Aid, I can only heal someone who's directly in front of me. Another party member, say Annalise, her version of First Aid her area of effect might actually reach all around her. So characters who have the same skill will not have the same utility. Because every character has a different area of effect for their skills. So that's something that mixes things up and is interesting. When you catch animals have 2 predetermined skills and then 1 random skill, which means that there is variety. So if you keep catching the same species of animal, you can have animals that behave differently based on they have a personality type. Animals act automatically. You cannot control their actions in battle, and their personality type will determine sort of what moves they use. So if you caught an animal but you don't really like the way that it's behaving in battle, you can try catching the same species again, and that species, its behavior might be a bit different. You might like it better. You can raise the animals. You can't give them equipment, but you can do little games with them and raise their stats. The game is very much, it's mostly like you're battling enemies, but it's also a camp simulator. So you're sort of managing, it's not exactly The Sims, but you get to watch the characters walk around and interact with things, and sort of characters have different personality types, and they'll tend to, say for example, there's a certain character might get depressed, or a certain character might get distracted. You have to collect items that sort of deal with certain moods. And so if a character is, say, depressed, their stats are dropped by like 20% or something, which is like, okay, you don't have to pay attention if you don't want to. You can just keep going through battle and ignore it. But if you have, say that character likes, say they like cute things. They like looking at cute plushy animals, or cute pictures, a cute cat picture or something. So if you give that character an item that's cute, it'll restore that condition or that mood, and it'll replace the mood with inspired, which then boosts their stats by 20%. So there is it's a reward for players who are familiar with the characters, and who put in the effort to become familiar with the characters, because the more you know about the characters, the more often you're going to get those 20% boosts. And in battle, that can make a pretty big difference, whether you take a 20% penalty or 20% boost on stats. So it's very much just sort of a laid-back camp simulator. You're constantly rolling the dice to see which new animals and which new characters you get. You're constantly getting new equipment and new skills. There is a time of day factor, so certain enemies will only show up during the daytime, and certain ones will only show up at nighttime. So I hope you'll try the game at different times of the day. I'm going to get back to work here. But hey, let's keep in touch. I hope all of you are doing well, and you're safe and healthy. I keep you up to date on the game. I've been working on it about 3 days. I'm trying to speed run this game because I really want to get it out there. That way people have something to do that's fresh in the Silver Falls universe. And when people play the game, it's really going to help me, because that's going to bring in ad revenue. It's free to you guys. You don't have to pay anything, and it's just a game that you can enjoy. So, hey, thanks for checking in. We'll keep in touch, and we'll see you in Silver Falls. Cheers.